Of the immigration. So,
You're up to the front.
okay, sorry.
Sweet.
4:59.
Easy. It's still blocked out whenever you want me to push the
Okay,
unblock.
yep, now, so we're good. All right, welcome, everyone. I would like to call to order a regular meeting of the Saratoga Springs Public Library Board of Trustees. Today is Monday, January 13th, 2025. Happy New Year. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the December regular meeting minutes. Terry had requested a change that Tanya already submitted. Is there anything else that anyone saw on the minutes? And if not, would someone like to make a motion to approve them?
My name is missing from the executive session.
Your name is missing from the executive session. Let's see.
That you were there or weren't? I was there, but my name isn't on the list.
All right, so we can make that change. So what we do in that case is we just say that someone can make a motion to approve with that change.
So moved.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. Second. Thank you, Heather. All in favor? Next item is the approval of the expenditures prepaid check 73022 to 73028 totaling $7,051.38. And the January warrants check 73029 to 72118 totaling $178,822.70. Does anyone have any questions about expenditures? And if not, would someone like to make a motion to approve them? Thank you, Carol. Second? Second, thanks. All in favor? Aye. Next is the approval of the financial report, the prepaid check reports, January warrant summary sheet, the budget report, and the income report. Anyone have anything on any of those reports they have questions about it? If not, would someone like to make a motion?
To approve the financial reports.
Thank you, Heather. Second. Thanks, Carol. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. My report, the land next door that we've been talking to Wild Horses about has agreed to the conditions that we set for sale. Our attorney made one change about the date because she thought it may take a little longer to get things through the city, which we may have to modify again because we have not heard back yet from their attorneys of which attorney will be drafting the contract. So that is set. All the trustees have completed the continuing education requirement for 2024. That information has been sent to Jen to share with the state. And Kelly, everyone has completed their harassment training for their 2024. That is it for my report. Public comment. Haven't received anything. Correspondence and communication.
I do want to share, I don't always do this, but I do want to share with you an email that we received this morning.
Okay.
Says, greetings, Mr. Pulver, from Jean Montgomery. We'd like to commend the staff of librarians, aides, and maintenance people. Our two granddaughters love your children's room, so we sometimes bring them there for playtime before bringing them to our home in Bolton Spa. As an SSPLELL volunteer, I'm familiar with and appreciate the library's cordial community. When we brought them to this past Friday afternoon, We didn't anticipate their simultaneous intestinal issues that resulted in vomiting for the 5-year-old and a rush to the bathroom for the 3-year-old requiring a forceful release. The librarians and staff were wonderful with efficiency, safety, consciousness, and kindness to everyone's well-being of the room. Their attentiveness and mindfulness to protocols were evident. We want to apologize for this abrupt distraction within the room's operations and to thank all involved for helping us through this fiasco. Gratefully, Jean and John.
I think they're not the only
They're not
ones.
the only ones.
So, yes.
And there was a very nice email from Catherine, who's not here today because she's not feeling well. Praising our new full-time cleaner, Jess, for jumping to action, doing a great job. And Catherine says that it was the worst such event she's ever experienced in the course of her.
Yeah, and she went so above and beyond
Yeah.
to help that.
That's very, very, very sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we're sharing news with staff to be especially mindful about covering your cough, washing your hands, everything.
Yeah.
Because we have looked at CDC data that every day, all the respiratory things are on the rise, and then there's this. Whatever this mysterious norovirus is, that seems to be everywhere, not just our city.
Right, okay,
We've been doing sanitary wait downs in the middle of the day to try to
yeah,
limit a lot of stuff.
good. Good, well, that's very nice of them too. I'm sure that wasn't what they were planning for on Friday afternoon either. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, do you want to shift into your report, Ike?
Sure, so we started looking at circulation, and it is interesting that the Heaven and Earth grocery store is the most borrowed physical item, and then the women, which we were having a discussion earlier about which one did we think was going to be the most borrowed. If you look at it in all of its formats, the points out. And it continues to be clear that the shift away from the shift to online for things like audio books and movies and this is really obvious. When we of our top 100 most borrowed items, there are 4. And and one Gervais drum, which circulated more than the Barbie in 2004. So there really is a change happening in the way people are consuming our products. And then the other thing with the building improvements, the elevator bid, the invitation to bid is out. We do anticipate this week, I think. Tomorrow morning, a pre-bid walkthrough with potential contractors, and then on the 28th of the bid opening. The architect said that they've already been in touch with some potential bidders and they seem to be getting some positive response. So.
Does anybody have any questions for her? Welcome, Frank. Thank you. And then he did attach to the packet, we didn't see that list of 100 items. Jen, is there anything you'd like to add to your report?
Just to say that, the survey, the community survey went out the first week of January, second or third. And we currently have 334 complete surveys. 519 starts. So, we've got some, still the beginning stages, but people are finding the survey and doing it. And we will be doing a staff survey. We have an all staff meeting on Thursday, and I'll be introducing a staff survey for them to help us with the strategic plan.
Great. Any questions for Jen? John, I think it looks like you are next.
Just included a few statistical tidbits for the year prior. So this difference here. Oh, yeah. So this is the 2024 door count, people through the doors. This little drop down is where you may probably don't remember that I mentioned we had data loss at some point on one of our door counter
Oh, okay.
servers. So that was the drop. I included the real data, but then I went back and adjusted it using, prior months' data, and I made a guesstimate essentially.
Right,
So it still shows us, that's about 6% above what we were last year. Slowed significantly since we came back from the pandemic, and that's what I referenced here, that 2022, we're at 2024, we're 50% higher than we were in 2022, so
Right.
it's coming back. It's still not quite, I should have included prior to COVID year just for comparison, but I didn't, but I don't believe we're there yet with our accounts. And just some interesting facts about the Wi-Fi usage. Terabytes of data, how much that equates to. They have to watch a year, 2 years worth of our movies to use up 3 terabytes of data that they've downloaded in 1 year.
Mhm.
The remote printing did very well. This is a 6-month because that's as long as we've had the data before. That's compared to our public printing, which is 18,000 versus the remote printing, and that is where anybody can walk up and release a print job, not just sitting at our public computer. And then compared to our staff printing, which is 73,000, which is quite big. But I've been assured that we use all those figures. And then the 231,000 unique website sessions for the year. Random things. Oh, and this little thing here, this is the one thing that wasn't a statistic for the year. This is just one thing that I thought I'd throw in there. That's a fun little project we're working on, hopefully useful once we get it vetted and everything. It's a tablet-sized room use display. So the Sussman room would have a tablet, or in the final stages, each room would have a tablet. You'd be able to see what's going on in that room. You could scroll to another room to see if there's one that's open. You can eventually book that room sometime in the future. Currently, I think our use case is going to be, we're going to have one tablet for people to come up and see what room is in use. And then they could put in an email address to book that room as a walk-up.
Okay, nice,
So it'll take the place of our walk book.
right,
So we'll start there and we'll feel our way out, but it doesn't show up so good, but it's just a tablet-sized representation of what the room would look like.
great.
And I think that's good.
Anyone have questions for John? Yeah, nice.
We want to you have the vendor stations.
I wanted to say, we had talked about starting to count people at the end of the evening to see
Yeah.
how many people might be here at closing time. And we haven't started that because I thought we might have some data. We discovered when we started talking about that one of the computer clerks was already doing something similar to that. We got those numbers and I don't quite know what they mean, which is why I didn't.
Okay,
why I didn't
okay,
share them.
great. Well, thanks for, and I saw your piece also in here, Trevor, of what's happening, actual interaction, advice that people are tracking now. Which is helpful. I know that in those conversations that we had about just how many people are in the building and the hours was not so that any decision is made right now.
Right.
So if any of that was confusing, that, excuse me, wasn't my intention. We're just gathering data to make decisions potentially in the future. I'm sorry. That's okay. Hi. Ever you have anything you want to highlight?
No, I just want to say, I echo your sentiment. The graphs that I included on the interactions in half-hour increments between 5 o'clock and 9 o'clock really weren't too, like, really what I wanted to illustrate was kind of what we had discussed in meetings prior, that there's a time of day we feel that things kind of, drop off. And is our perception, is that somewhat accurate? And so looking at these, it kind of looks like, oh yeah, there's things happening, and then there's that drop off around 6:30 or so, and it does vary. And this was also December, like we started December 17th. This is historically the slowest month of the year. So
Right.
more than anything, this may be a baseline for which to compare future information. So by no means is it intended to be, like, oh my gosh, things are like fantastic, or things are not good. So no, this is what we're experiencing, what we've been experiencing for the past 3 weeks, and staff is going to continue to track this information. And if there's anything else that folks might feel useful for us to keep track of its circulation, please let me know. Happy to incorporate that as well.
Right.
Do want to highlight a couple things. So just want to congratulate Sarah Durbin. She's going to be presenting at a conference in Texas, the Association for the Study of Play conference, which will be taking place in March. And she was invited to speak based on her work she's been doing with the memory care units here in Saratoga Springs, where she goes and brings the photograph, which you see here, of Mr. Experiment, and the residents together as a group tell a story based on the picture, which places the residents in the here and now. And again, when you're thinking of folks that are experiencing, memory issues, it's very stressful because a lot of it is this constant attempt to try and recall, and people are trying to make them recall. So it's potentially a state of agitation. And here with this, they're absolutely present. So this is what we talked about when we say, be in the present, be mindful, and this is what people are doing, and they're reacting differently from how staff in these residents have seen them react before. So there's one line in there that I absolutely love. It said, the man and the baby are flowing together like soup. And the woman that came up with this line, she was making this motion, this delicate motion with her arms, and staff was blown away. And they pulled Sarah aside afterwards and said, we haven't seen her react like this before. Did you know she was a professional dancer? And so this was how she was trying to express before she was able to get the words out. She was expressing, flowing together like soup with these motions. So I just,
Yeah, it's wonderful.
absolutely.
Really well. And I love that you're still doing all these outreach pieces with the farmers markets, and that hasn't stopped. for the winter. It's
Jennifer
really great.
Gradowski, she's really getting after it, and her ideas don't stop. And we've got two partnerships that are in progress right now. One is Stories for Success at Saratoga Hospital, where they it's earliest early literacy more for parents of newborns. I'm not sure what that project's going to look like. They're in the discussion phase, and the library can assist. A potential partnership with Captain to do a teen outreach, which was something that teen librarian, like 2 teen librarians ago, something she was passionate about, but it was hard because she's in the teen room at the time of day when she was hoping to be out in the community, kind of working with the Captain. So we're going to see if anything comes of that. And so. And one other thing, just wanted to mention, Song Swap, which happens, it's a program that I'm involved with here at the library, usually the 3rd Monday of the month, where we have a group of, right now, between 15 and 20, super amateur, interested musicians. We gather in this room, and for about 2 or so hours, we go around in a circle and we just play tunes and jam. It's mostly guitar players. Someone brings a hammered dulcimer, I bring an electric cello. But what we have now is, in addition to the library's collection, is one of our song swappers donated a full-size electric Suzuki keyboard to the library too, so we're not trying to pull that scary baby grand piano out, which is really not meant to be moved that much unless absolutely necessary. So we have a fully outfitted electric piano now with the piano stand and seat. And so that has been very well received. So the gentleman's name is Mike Corrigan. So I want to take a second publicly thank you, Mike Corrigan.
Yes,
Very much
thank
appreciated.
you.
And see you in a couple of weeks. That's all I have. Thank you all.
Great. Any questions for Trevor? Catherine isn't here. There's a lot on her report to take us. Jamie, anything in particular you want to share?
I just want to highlight that Reach Recovery got $1,000 donation from the Provost family, and a big piece of that was because Emily and Mary went out into the community and they go to different events that have to do with recovery. And when they met the Provost family, they were impressed with Emily and Mary, so they wanted to make the donation. So
Thanks, I saw that.
kudos to them and extra thank you to the Provost family.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty much all I really wanted to highlight this one.
great. And do you know when you'll have the list of events for the Saratoga Reads?
I'm hoping to get that out by the end of this week. I have a
Okay.
meeting tomorrow that's hopefully finalizing our big event, and then most of them are on the calendar already. I just have to get with Gina to make an actual list of everything together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Any questions? Jean? Kelly? Hi.
I just want to talk about the paid prenatal leave.
Yeah, 'cause I read that and I didn't know if then that required approval from us. Okay.
It does, yeah. So just like what my report says, we already do the paid family leave program, which is we're not required to do. It's a state program, and this sort of falls right along. Yeah, same lines as that.
So if everyone didn't see this, Kelly is referencing that as of January 1st, 2025, employees in New York who are pregnant will have an additional 20 hours of paid time off available to them for doctor's appointments, procedures, or other types of prenatal care. And that it is part of New York's paid sick leave time. Does anyone have questions for Kelly about that? And if not, would anyone like to have any kind of a discussion about how you feel about the library adding this to our available leave programs?
So does that work the same way as like the COVID sick leave, where it's just the state covers that expense and it's?
I mean, we don't get reimbursed
Right.
for it.
Your state doesn't cover leaves.
Right.
Okay.
So it's just an additional 20 hours that we would have I guess a separate leave type in our payroll that we would add the hours to.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Curious.
Yeah, we don't get reimbursed.
And then do you have people have to give you doctor's notes, or how do you indicate?
It doesn't say what's required. I don't know if that's something we want to require. I don't think we really, I mean.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think that's something that me personally, I don't think that I want to do that.
Right.
If somebody's pregnant, I typically already know that they're pregnant because they've talked to me about what's, coming up with PFL and everything. So I trust that they're.
And is it just for the person who is pregnant, or is it
Yeah.
also for their
It's for
partner?
pregnant employees.
Pregnant employees? Okay.
I was listening to an interview with a person from the Department of Labor about the mechanism for it, and they said typically, and I don't have any personal experience with this, but I guess when someone is pregnant and they're making their prenatal appointments, they know when they are.
Yes,
So
I can vouch for that.
they just
Yes.
urge people to give as much notice as
Yes.
they can.
Yeah,
Right.
they're usually making them a few ahead of time. Especially as you get closer to the end of your pregnancy, they're more frequent.
Right,
So, yeah.
right.
And the year is 20 hours a year,
Yes,
and the year is from when you become pregnant. So it's not January to December, it's a year from when you first
Right.
learn.
Okay. Does anybody, it's something I support. It's,
There's no fiscal location, so it's just paid.
Yeah,
20 hours paid.
yes, it's paid time. For them to take it.
I would support.
And Carol or Jean or Terry, do you have, you said something you would support?
I would support it, yes, absolutely. And I was just experiencing the image of pregnancy while some of that was transpiring, so. Yes, person needs to utilize it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they think that statistically it will help for more prenatal care, which is better out, yeah. Okay, so I would like to make a motion that we approve this additional, this addition to our leave policy of a prenatal leave. Second, thanks, Heather. All in favor? Anything else? Kelly?
No, what I'm gonna do is I'll contact Paychecks and add that.
Okay,
So it'll be, the employee can request it for when needed, so that way the management knows.
perfect. And we all see in there that there's some hiring and there was some termination, so we'll wait until you're ready for appointments from us. Rick, anything in particular of this that you wanna?
Other than old and still learning, this FCC thing was a little more challenging. You know, I did know that those emails were going to Marge Johnson, who's long departing. There was no backup put in place, so now we got it, so we're backed up. That can get lost in the shuffle.
I would think that's the case all the time. I don't know, especially those things that don't come up frequently, that like if I worked here, I wouldn't even have necessarily remember to hand my email over that, oh, wait, the such and such is gonna come through my email and
Every 5 years.
exactly. So,
The funny part is, all these other companies and stuff, they follow these federal registers. So they know when your date's coming up, so, hey, we're gonna send him emails for this, we're gonna.
right. the way
Try
we
to
get
sell
like
them
our car
materials or
registration.
services or everything else, and you're like, no, why am I getting this? You're not connecting all the
Right.
dots. But, yeah, and, when it came to the boiler. Building heat water system to shut everything down in the middle of winter when it was cold, wasn't my favorite thing to do, but our contractors were great. They worked with us, and there's more to do, but that's in the spring, so we got the big stuff and we know we're good until better weather comes.
Great.
Any questions or comments?
Well, maybe we could have a policy about when people leave. And what do we do with their email? I mean, that just makes sort of common working sense, especially if you have a work email and a personal email. I would think that you wanna have a policy for that.
What does happen right now?
I mean, we've got a practice and it depends on who the person is. And somebody like Marge, who'd been here for 20 years and had 20 years worth of email, that generally gets preserved for a period of time until we think we've extracted everything from it that would be, but inevitably something. Yes. But, another person, other people, when they leave, their email, as soon as they go, their email gets turned off, so they no longer have access to the system.
Right, it could be an auto reply.
Right. Or they get no reply at all because the email is inactive. And then generally, I get access to all of the documents and emails that people have left behind. And typically, there's not much there to save. But every once in a while, somebody like an HR person or somebody like, I say somebody's been here forever, we do save those things for a significant.
And that's an unusual one and something that you're only registering every 5 years.
Right.
I would imagine there's not a lot of those.
No, there aren't many things like that. Yeah, and then the spam emails that Rick was talking about, they come through and they go to your spam and they look like spam, and so kind of ignore them when they do come. Yeah, it's like the people who try to sell you the DOL posters that you can go onto the DOL page and download it.
Right.
And put on your wall, so you do have a tendency to, and I think it was a combination of things like that.
All right, so I guess I don't know that there's really a policy to make. We haven't met about the strategic plan. We are waiting for the survey pieces that are happening, and so we'll give an update when that data is in, and probably the staff data is in as well. My sense, would you agree with that, Jack?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and have them both end of the month.
Right,
And
okay,
then, so probably
sometime in
mid-February, might have some analysis on that.
Okay, that sounds great.
The other question on the survey,
Yeah,
there was a request that, it be filled out by one person per household. But there was also a request sent to board members, so I didn't know if
yeah, the
board
board,
members should fill it out and a household member. or-
no, I only included it in there in case, and just like I also had asked Ike to have Gina make sure we all get the newsletter, like I didn't have the newsletter coming to my library email. And so that was the other reason I was just sharing the survey so you can see it, if someone in your household has already completed
So
the
the
survey.
household member should still do it.
Yeah. Would you agree, Jen?
It's worded that way, so like, if you, like, your entire household might use the library in different ways. So if one person in your household answers it on behalf of everyone,
Right.
so that we get all the data. So, you have kids, you might have a parent living with you, so they're going to Senior Planet, some are going to early literacy.
Right.
You come here and do your work, so just to have it one per household. So if someone already filled it out, hopefully they filled it out for how.
There wasn't a lot of consultation, I have to say.
You're asking people to communicate. I know it's hard to ask. It doesn't, if two people fill it out, it's fine. It's just, it's a request just to try and
Okay.
get better data.
And then the branch expansion, committee, we met last week and, there is a question that we've mentioned that is on the strategic plan / general survey about, expansion of the library. Just a singular question, and, Ike is also working on some preliminary budget forecasting, some data for us, so that's what's happening with that. So maybe we'll have more to report in our next meeting. So those are the special committee reports. Unfinished business on the agenda is the land appraisal. I've already given an update about that. New business, proposed change to September staff development date from September 19th to September 26th. Is just to accommodate,
Jen will not be here on the 19th.
okay,
Sorry.
okay, that's, so would someone like, I can make a motion to make that change from staff development date from September 19th to September 26th in 2025. Like, second that? I see. Thanks, Jean. All in favor? Okay. And there is, the budget vote and trustee election calendar, right here. Library election calendar up there, 2025, so that indicates when the petitions are made available to trustee candidates. Those trustees who are running for re-election would note those particular dates. That would be good.
Right, exactly, and this is primarily a working calendar for us to know what we need to do then.
Right,
But that is exactly why I'm sharing it with you today, just so that if you know when the petitions will be available for you and when they need.
yeah,
So I had a question, I thought originally, April the 7th had been designated for the public meeting. That's
Yeah, I
that's
just put it in
when
my
we usually
calendar.
have our board.
It is when we usually have it, but April is a very strange month this year, given the way that National Library Week falls, and then there's Easter and Passover, which are kind of simultaneous, and then there's school break week.
That's the first Monday too.
Minutes.
So are we,
Because that would, you were right, that would be our normal board meeting day, but it's very early.
Right, it'd be the first Monday.
it looks like we
Not the
had changed, it looks like we had changed, Terry, on the approved schedule here, that our regular board meeting is Monday, April 21st. The budget hearing is Monday, April 21st,
Okay.
and the budget vote is April 24th. That's still correct, right?
It is, and then you're right, that is a change from what our normal
Right.
schedule.
So if everyone could just make that note for April, that we are meeting on the 21st for our regular meeting at 5, budget hearings at 7. And then the budget vote and trustee election is that same week on Thursday. So we don't need to move to approve this. This is just for our information, right? Okay. And then the elevator project invitation bid opening is just an announcement on your part, right? That you've made already.
Right.
Good, okay. All right, then that concludes our regular business. I would like to make a motion to move into an executive session to discuss 2 particular personnel matters. Can someone second that motion? Second. Thanks, Carol.